पर डाल दीजिए। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वहदह वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला मन ला नबिय्य बअदह अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। इज़हबू बिक़मीसी हाज़ा फ़अल्क़ूहु अला वजहि अबी यअति बसीरा वअतूनी बिअहलिकुम अजमईन। Where we stopped last time was the fact that Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam finally disclosed his secret to his brothers, obviously with the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His brother then sought his forgiveness, and he actually not just forgave them, he rather tried finding excuses that you did it because you didn't know better, you made a mistake, and he did not tell them off at all. And obviously after that, his next concern was to find out about father, what he heard about father, but he wanted to see him. This longing has finally coming to an end with the permission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he identified what is the best way. So he actually thought in that drought situation, the troubled times, it would be better that everyone should come and stay with me. I can't leave the country which I'm leading at the moment as a quite senior personnel there, king, and also been like quite settled here. So let me just have them all here if at all possible. So he then realizes that father has lost his sight, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired him that his blessed shirt would be able to help in this situation with Allah's permission as a miracle, and he should try and utilize that. So he said, "Oh my brothers, take this my shirt and cast it over the face of my father. He will become seeing, he will be able to see after this. He would get and regain his sight back. And then after that, bring them all, your families, to me. Everyone there, bring them all here." So this particular shirt, different Mufassirun has written differently about, or some suggested, for example, Imam Bahaq and Imam Mujahid, rahimahumullah, that this shirt was from Jannah, from paradise. And this is the same one which was given to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam at the time when he was thrown in the fire from the time of Nimrud. And then it got passed on to Sayyidina Ishaq alayhi salam, and from him to Yaqub alayhi salam, and then he finally handed it over to Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. And the way it was that it was obviously miraculous shirt. It could have been shrunken down and could have been whatever size it is put on would fit. So the shirt was then finally made it into was put into a necklace inside a tube that was part of the necklace. So it was just kept there. And then Yaqub alayhi salam wanted Yusuf alayhi salam to wear this as amulet so that he is saved from the evil eye of people because of his beauty, his intelligence, his piety, his uprightness, the way he would speak. People would admire him the minute they see him and start talking to him. So Yaqub alayhi salam wanted to avert an evil eye. So he used it as a ta'weed. So ta'weed is permissible provided there is nothing contrary to Sharia, contradictory to Sharia. They're like written something which is haram, something which is idolatry, shirkiya words. If that's not the case, then wearing amulets, ta'weed, is okay. One can do that. It's fine, no problem with that. Now, when Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was in the well, Sayyidina Jibreel, he came down and he opened that ta'weed and took that shirt out and put that on Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. Obviously, his actual shirt was the one he was wearing, was taken by the brothers in order to lie to father about him being attacked by a wolf. So then it was preserved with Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. And with Allah's permission, Sayyidina Jibreel mentioned to Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam that put that over to your father's face and he would regain his blindness. I mean, his sight would be regained. Mujaddid al-Fasani, Sheikh Ahmad Sarhandian, the great Imam of Indian subcontinent, he said that it was the beauty of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam which was a thing of Jannah. And hence anything that would touch Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam in a positive way would get that blessing. This was not the shirt from Jannah, but anything that he has worn and touched his body, his blessed beauty from Jannah, that would cause that particular instrument or item to be blessed as well. And hence this shirt, although wasn't the same shirt, but still had the blessing of getting the cure of the blindness. Now, whatever that is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. Some suggested it was anything to do with the miracle of the shirt, as there's no specific hadith to prove that. These are the claims from the Israeliyat, the Israeli tradition, the stuff written in previous scriptures. But regardless, he sent down his brothers along with the shirt, and they passed it on to the father. And alhamdulillah, he then got his eyesight regained. The actual idea of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was to get the father back here. But he couldn't have asked father out of respect to come here. Then it would be a command to the father, and that is not appropriate. You can't ask your father to do certain things, rather you request him. So he couldn't have been there to request him. So what he did, he asked brothers to bring their family, knowing that they're all living together. And obviously when they are migrating here, dad hopefully will be able to accept this. And when he finds out that Yusuf is there with Binyamin, he would most certainly be willing to come here. And then he would visit them. According to some narration which is reported by Imam Al-Qurtubi in his tafsir, he said that Yehuda, Judah, the older one, the one who was like, not willing to go back because he said, I can't take that anymore. We've made a mistake the first time, I can't do that again. Likewise, so he said that I would take this shirt personally because I was the one who took this mere shirt of Yusuf alayhi salam with fake blood and brought to my father and caused him a lot of stress and distress and shock. So I don't want to miss out on this opportunity where I can expiate and make some makeups for that, the compensation for the trouble that I caused to my father. So I want to give him this glad tiding, and hopefully he would get this eyesight back, and inshallah that I will be able to get forgiveness from him. So وَلَمَّا فَصَلَتِ الْعِيرُ قال أبوهم إني لأجد ريح يوسف لولا تفندون. And when the caravan departed from Egypt, so they've just left Egypt, their father Yaqub alayhi salam said, indeed I find the smell of Yusuf alayhi salam. I could smell Yusuf alayhi salam. And if you did not think me weak in my mind, I'm going to say that, which means that I can smell Yusuf. And I know that you think that I'm not right in my mind. Abdullah ibn Abbas said, the distance of 8 days from the city of Egypt to Canaan, where Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam was, 8 days journey. Sayyidina Hassan al-Basri rahmatullah alayhi said 80 farsakh, which is nearly 250 miles. That's a significant distance. So that is where Yusuf alayhi salam is, and the people have left, and they left with the shirt of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. And Yaqub alayhi salam could smell it from that distance. That's a miracle, isn't it? This is unique to the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On one hand, Yaqub alayhi salam could smell the shirt, he could smell Yusuf alayhi salam's from that far via the shirt when he is really that old and frail, because this is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed it. Yet, when Yusuf alayhi salam was within his own city, Canaan, and in the nearby well, Yaqub alayhi salam didn't know where Yusuf was. He was asking and crying for him. Brother mentioned whatever they mentioned, they lied, and yet he couldn't know where Yusuf is. He couldn't smell him then. This is the proof that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who does whatever he does. It is not in the hand and control of even prophets to carry out certain things. It is with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that these miracles do happen. So Allah is the doer, and those miracles, the supernatural things happen with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even any action, everything happens with the leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the allowance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that aqidah should be very, very clear. قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ إِنَّكَ لَفِي ضَلَالِكَ الْقَدِيمِ. The brothers, the family members, they said, by Allah, indeed you are in your same old error. It was the people left behind. Obviously, the brothers were there in Egypt. The family who were left behind there, they said, you are not going to, stop talking about this. This is your similar old age problem. فلما أن جاء البشير ألقاه على وجهه فارتد بصيرا قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. When the bearer of the good tidings arrived, people when they turned up, the first who came, he cast it over his face, possibly Yehuda, who was planning to do so. He put the shirt on the blessed face of Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam, and he returned once again seeing, he could see straight away. He said, did I not tell you that I know from Allah which you do not know? Until I get revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا إنا كنا خاطئين. قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا إنا كنا خاطئين. So they said, oh our father, seek forgiveness for us, for our sins. Indeed, we have been sinners. Now they realize their mistake. The children, likewise the family. قال سوف أستغفر لكم ربي إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. So he said, I will seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you. Indeed, it is He who is the forgiving, the merciful. Now, Yaqub alayhi salam could have prayed instantly. He could have just made dua, Ya Allah, forgive my son. But he didn't. He made a promise rather and said that I will do it for you. I will pray for you soon. The scholar says perhaps he wanted to perform his prayer and du'a's supplication at the time of peace, at the time of full concentration. He just regained his his eyesight. He's just got people around him. Making dua at this point might not be as strong as what he would do in the oblivion from the world, in the middle of the night, at the time of tahajjud, for example, the third part of night when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends down, as the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he's just at the lower firmament, and then he would come near the earth and he would say, is there anyone who would pray for me and I would answer? Is there anyone who seeks forgiveness from me and I would forgive him? So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does every night. So people should be waking up at that time, just before Fajr, half an hour, 45 minutes before Tahajjud time. That's the time to just offer 2 rakat, 4 rakat, 6 to 8 rakat that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would do on a regular basis, and then supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he was planning to do it at that point when the dua is very likely to get accepted. And some others suggest that it was that he wanted to seek forgiveness from Yusuf alayhi salam as well, because this is the right of individuals. It is the right of people. This is from the hukukul ibad, haqqul abd. So he wanted to get the opinion and the forgiveness from Yusuf alayhi salam, who has been wronged by these brothers, obviously father as well, but the main recipient of all that atrocity and oppression was Yusuf alayhi salam. So he wanted to see how Yusuf alayhi salam is going to respond to this, and once done, then I would seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So giving us a clear message that when we wrong someone accidentally or even knowingly, God forbid, then we should seek their forgiveness. We should compensate for whatever we have done to them, and then come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot violate people's right and then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive it, because this is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed us. Rather, he would say, go and seek forgiveness from that individual who you have backbitten, who you have slandered, who you have wronged in any way, who you have misappropriated the wealth of. Go and ask him for forgiveness. Once done, then inshallah ta'ala, you can ask for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness, and then Allah will forgive us. So this is what he's teaching to the children. فلما دخلوا على يوسف آوى إليه أبويه وقال ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين. And when they entered upon Yusuf alayhi salam, the whole family came back to Egypt with parents and everyone. He took his parents to himself and said, enter Egypt, Allah willing, safe and secure. Now Yusuf alayhi salam, he with the brothers sent a very big supply of clothes and article and all the stuff needed, because he knew there's so many people coming back and they would not have enough to provide for those people, even for the travel. So he sent 200 camels. The whole family could make the preparation and they could come back to the country, Egypt. According to some narration, there were about 93 men and women. According to some, there were 72. And according to some different numbers, but whatever was the number, it was significant enough that Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam thought that they should need at least one camel for themselves and one extra maybe for their stuff, because they're migrating for quite a long period of time. When they came back, Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam welcomed them with about 4,000 guard, 4,000 policemen, 4,000 army men, whatever you may call them, just to give them honor, to respect them. And when they reached them, obviously they were lodging with Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. According to Israeli tradition, not in Sahih Hadith, the mother of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam had died during his childhood. So Yaqub alayhi salam then married the second wife, which was the sister of the first one. So first one was Rahil, according to some, Rachel. And the second one was Leah. So they were sisters, according to some. And so here it says, as you see, Yaqub alayhi salam said, Yusuf alayhi salam said about them as their parents. But maternal aunt is khala. Your maternal aunt is like your mother. As the hadith says, the khala is like your mother. And this is when, say, the Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when she asked for a kunya, agnomen for herself, she said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all the women got a kunya, means they got a name attached to an attribute. So Abu Bakr, Abu Huraira, Darda, Kulthum. So can I have a kunya like that? I haven't got a child, but can I? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you can have kunya of Abdullah, Abdullah, mother of Abdullah, Abdullah being the son of Sayyidah Asma, the sister of Sayyidah Aisha. So you are khala, you are maternal aunt to Abdullah, so Abdullah bin Zubayr. So you are like mother because you're khala. So khala is like mother. So that is why she was given the agnomen, the kunya, as Abdullah. Anyway, so that could be the reason for calling Abawai, his parents, and mom and dad. But some other narration says from the Israeli tradition that it wasn't, they were like, saying different things about their mom and khala. So if you put them all together, it gets a little bit confusing. So what the scholars generally say, you don't need to go for those. Quranic words are very clear that they were their parents. So we do not need to come up with this story that mother died. She might have still been alive. So anyway, whatever it was, that's besides the point. But there's no criticism that if Allah says Abawayhi, his parents, then even if it's his khala, then it's still like mother. Some people criticize for this that, oh, they don't know the fact. Oh, there's no clear-cut fact written anywhere in absolute term. So you can't blame or you can't criticize based on that. ورفع أبويه على العرش وخروا له سجدا وقال يا أبت هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل قد جعلها ربي حقا وقد أحسن بي إذ أخرجني من السجن وجاء بكم من البدو من بعد أن نزغ الشيطان بيني وبين إخوتي إن ربي لطيف لما يشاء إنه هو العليم الحكيم. So he raised his parents upon the throne, let them sit on the throne, and they bowed down to him in prostration. Parents plus the siblings. So remember his dream that he was seeing that sun and the moon plus the 7 stars, أحد عشر كوكبا, are bowing down to him. And that dream came true. Father and mother were sun and moon, and 11 siblings out of 12. He was the 12th one, obviously. Brothers, actually. They bowed down to him. And he said, oh, my father, this is the explanation of my vision of before. My Lord has made it a reality. And he was certainly good to me when he took me out of prison and brought to you all here from Bedouin life after Shaitan has induced estrangement, animosity between me and my brothers. Indeed, my Lord is subtle in what he wills. Indeed, it is he who is the knowing, the wise. So look at how Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam is now showing his gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But before that, this issue of prostration, the prostration, sajda, bowing down to anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not permissible. There are 2 types of sajda. The sajda of ibadah, the sajda which is done as a worship, an act of worship. That is haram by consensus. That is not at all permissible. You cannot prostrate to anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the intention of worship. It would be idolatry. It's haram. It's like shirk, associating partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you leave the fold of Islam by that action. But there's another sajda called sajda ta'zimi, sajda of veneration, sajda of respect and honor, to honor someone with that sajda, showing that you are, are big, elder, someone more honorable, like parents, like teachers, like mentors. So with that, it is in our Sharia, in the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even that is haram. It is not shirk, obviously, because the intention is changed now, but this is still not permissible. It is haram, even if it is done with the intention of ta'zeem, with the intention of honoring someone. So this has become a practice for certain people, that they actually bow down to their parents sometimes, they kiss their feet. Now, if they opt a posture of sajda, posture of prostration in front of their parents to kiss their feet, that's haram, completely not allowed at all. If they did it in such a way that there is, no bowing down in sajda posture happening, like father or mother are lying in bed and you just go there and kiss their feet, that's okay. There's no problem with that. But they're standing and you go down right on the floor and kiss their feet, that is not at all okay. Now, in previous Sharia, the Sharia of Musa alayhi salam, and before them, it was okay. It was the sajda of ta'zeem, the sajda of veneration was permissible. That is why they did it to manifest the dream. Likewise, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Adam alayhi salam and the angels were to bow down to him, to Adam alayhi salam, that was out of respect and honor. It was not as worship. So worship is not allowed to anyone, that's shirk. But the respect, sajda of respect, even that is not allowed in our Sharia. We cannot do that at all. This is categorically mentioned by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is haram. Okay, it was permissible for them for ta'zeem, but not for this ummah. So make sure that we never ever go to that level at all. There was another very beautiful mention of the discussion that happened between Yehuda and Yaqub alayhi salam. According to Sufyan al-Thawri, one of the greatest of the Imams of the past, rahimahumullah, he was the contemporary of Sayyidina Imam Abu Hanifa, rahmatullah alayhi. So they obviously are the great of the Imams. So he said that when Yehuda brought the shirt to father, he asked him, how was Yusuf? How is Yusuf? Yehuda said, he's very good. He's a king, actually. Obviously, that was an obvious thing. He's a king and he's enjoying, he's very nice, he's healthy or whatnot. Yaqub alayhi salam said, I'm not asking if he's a prince or a pauper. I'm asking, how is he in his faith and deed? That's a very important message that we need to all learn and literally internalize it and utilize it. Then he told him that he is very good in character. He's God-fearing, he's chaste in his conduct. This made him very, very satisfied. This is how the people would be and how we should be for our children. We should be more concerned about their state of a spiritual life and not their material life as much. It's important to have their physical needs met, and we should be concerned about that, but that's not the ultimate goal. Remember, children need three types of nurturing: their physical needs, their intellectual need, and their spiritual need. Okay, so emotion would go all with the, intellectual need. So you have to ensure all three well-being. Unfortunately, we work day in, day out to earn a living, to ensure that our children get good food, all the physical stuff properly, their health, their house, their clothing, and perhaps a little bit of learning as well when they go to school. But when it comes to the spiritual connection, spiritual training, we have no idea what we are doing. That's the least important aspect of their life in our eyes. And that's where we're failing on. That is why we're leaving our children and subjecting them to the waves of kufr and shirk, and they're leaving faith. May Allah save us all from that. May Allah help us understand this point and then improve our situation. رب قد آتيتني من الملك وعلمتني من تأويل الأحاديث فاطر السماوات والأرض أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة توفني مسلما وألحقني بالصالحين. And then he said, my Lord, you have given me something of sovereignty and taught me of the interpretation of dreams. Creator of heavens and earth, you are my protector in this world and the hereafter. Cause me to die as a Muslim and join me with the righteous. How beautiful, though. Look at the gratitude that he has. He has forgotten. He's never mentioned any of the ills he had to go through. There was no concept of PTSD and having nightmares about what happened to me. He just took it all as the plan from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever happened with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I just need to stay connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when he's there, He got it. He started thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again as before, and he forgot about the past. Now he's not complacent about his life hereafter. He's not complacent about his certain parts of the life which is left for this world even. So he's making dua, Ya Allah, make me die as a Muslim. Make me die as your obedient servant. And then he's fearful. That's why he's asking. He's concerned, as we should all be. We should never be satisfied with what would happen to us next day. We don't know whether we'll still be Muslim or not. Quite vulnerable. So this is what a prophet is doing. What should we be doing? And he wants to be with the righteous. He wants to be in the company of righteous people. So that's where he ends. But there's one couple lines and few passages left that we will inshallah complete next week, so that we are done with the surah. We hope that we would learn something and internalize those. So we'll try to see if we could summarize all the points from the surah as a simple benefits in one session, hopefully next week or the following, and then we wrap this one up and move on to the next surah inshallah. Jazakallahu khair.